What if the future of war isn't about having more soldiers on the ground, but actually fewer? Well, that's the radical vision of tech billionaire and Oculus founder Palmer Luckey. He looks at the Pentagon and sees a system that's totally stuck in the past, so he's decided to build a future himself.
And this quote right here, this is the engine for a whole revolution in warfare. I mean, think about it. For centuries, our military strategies have been totally handcuffed by the limits of the human body. Luckey's argument is really simple. To win the wars of tomorrow, we have to unleash machines to fight in ways a person never, ever could.
All right, so let's start with the really big question that Palmer Luckey is trying to answer. How can a country that spends nearly $1 trillion on defense still seem so vulnerable?
This really gets to the heart of the paradox, doesn't it? We are pouring historic, mind-boggling amounts of money into the military, but according to Luckey, all that cash isn't actually buying us more effective power. Instead, it's just getting eaten up by bureaucracy and by this obsession with clinging to old, outdated programs that don't make sense anymore.
And this slide just perfectly captures how absurd the whole situation is. The Pentagon was spending a fortune on these giant, multi-million-dollar robotic tanks, only to find out that a cheap $300 drone you can buy online could take one out in a second. That's the textbook definition of asymmetric warfare, and right now it's a game the US is badly losing.
But see, Luckey isn't just some guy on the sidelines complaining. He's actually trying to build the solution. He pitches his company Anduril not as just another defense contractor, but as a tech company on a mission to fix a deeply broken system and save taxpayers a boatload of money in the process.
So who is this guy leading the charge? You might be surprised. It's not a retired general or some DC lobbyist. It's the same kid who brought virtual reality to all of us. Just look at this timeline. It shows a really clear pattern. From a teenager tinkering in his garage to a tech billionaire, Luckey's entire career has been about blowing up old industries and building something new. And now, he's set his sights on the biggest one of them all, the Pentagon. So if throwing more money at the problem isn't the answer, what is? How do you fight smarter, not just richer? Well, the answer isn't bigger budgets, it's better brains. And I mean, artificial intelligence.
This is the loyal wingman concept, and it's an absolute game changer. Just imagine one human pilot acting like a quarterback, directing this whole swarm of autonomous and, this is key, expendable drones. These AI jets can pull G-forces that would literally kill a person, letting them pull off maneuvers that completely rewrite the rulebook of air combat.
And this is where it gets kind of chilling. For 100 years, we've taught pilots a set of tactics designed to do one thing: keep them alive. But an AI? It has zero instinct for self-preservation. It can pull off a maneuver that has a 50% chance of survival if it means the mission succeeds. And that just opens up a whole new, terrifying playbook for war.
But you know, this whole tech arms race, it's not just happening in a lab with lines of code. The real battle, the one that might matter most, isn't happening in the sky. It's happening on the factory floor.
Okay, get ready for this number, because it is absolutely staggering. According to Luckey, China has 300 times the naval shipbuilding capacity of the United States. Let me say that again. They can build 300 ships in the time it takes the US to build one. That's not just an imbalance, that's an industrial chasm.
And here's how they're doing it. It's the strategy called civil-military fusion. China basically requires its civilian industries to build everything to military specs. So their commercial car ferries, yeah, they're designed to carry tanks. Their entire shipping fleet is basically a massive military ghost fleet, ready to be called up in a second. The goal is simple: win a war before it even starts, just by outproducing everyone else.
So when you see that manufacturing gap, you have to ask, how can America possibly compete with that? Well, Luckey argues that the old way of thinking is completely obsolete. He's proposing a total pivot in American foreign policy. And to understand his point, listen to this absolutely bizarre and frankly terrifying story from Ukraine. This pilot genuinely believed he was going to be welcomed as a hero. Luckey's point is that the best way to prevent a war is to make the cost of aggression so impossibly high for the other side that they can't fall for their own propaganda. But here's the problem. If you want to make that cost of aggression high, you have to actually arm your allies with the tools they need to defend themselves. And that's where the current system is totally failing. Taiwan has ordered and paid for $20 billion worth of American weapons, and those orders are just sitting there, undelivered. We're not arming our allies when they need it the most.
And this slide just lays out the new vision perfectly.
The old model, the world's police, where we send American soldiers to fight and die in other countries' wars. The proposed new model, the world's gun store. We become a reliable, efficient arsenal for democracies, giving our allies the tools they need to fight for their own freedom.
So, at the end of the day, the very nature of conflict is being rewritten right before our eyes by AI, by robotics, by sheer industrial might. The old playbooks are useless, and the question is no longer just whether America is ready, but whether it's willing to adapt and completely reinvent itself before it's too late.